Hello and welcome to a new channel, and I've got several YouTube channels and I've been reasonably successful, although at first it wasn't about numbers, as I'll explain. And sorry about the sound in the background, there's some work going on in the garden, but I was a television producer for about 3.5 years, making motoring programs for Men and Motors. And I got into making YouTube content a little bit by accident because I wanted to carry on making programs, but I didn't want all the hassle. I didn't have any equipment, so I had a full-time job. And what I decided to do was save up, buy the equipment and build a YouTube channel that would eventually allow me to carry on making programs and eventually earn a living from it and get out of the very unpleasant job that I had to do to get the equipment. And all was going all right. The channel was called Enwins Motors, and I had a couple of road trips to Sweden. I did, and I still do, features on low volume and specialist cars, and you'll find a link in the description. Please do check out the channel. It's still there, it's still going, and I'm still making stuff for it. And then I started a part-time business with my father because I got into 3D printing, and that was involved my father's hobby of model railways, and a sort of a business evolved from that. And so I created a YouTube channel around model railways and heritage railways, and that evolved into what is now Enwins Models. So why the new channels that I'm doing now? Well, basically, about 2018, the plans that I had were all thrown into chaos because after a couple of weeks after a road trip to Sweden, I had what we thought was a stroke. And that basically was a bit of a shock to the system. It meant 6 months off work and lots of brain scans and so on, and thankfully I do still have a brain. Who knew? Anyhow, the tests were all done, and at first it was assumed to have been a stroke, and so I was treated as a stroke victim. Half my body was affected. I basically forgot how to walk with my right leg, and my right hand suffered. And so it's basically this side of the body, but though my face didn't drop. So after a while and a bit of diagnosis, a neurologist popped up and said, actually, I've looked at your scans and you haven't had a stroke, you've got MS. Bit of a bombshell. I didn't know anything about MS, like so many other people. So part of the job of this channel is to chart my experiences with MS and also how I've worked to get round it, and lots of gadgets and life hacks and things that I've discovered to help, in the hope that it helps somebody else. And I hope you will contribute your ideas and experiences to help others. So that's the germ, if you like, of this channel and what we're trying to achieve. But going back to my story, I didn't know what MS was. I'd heard of it, multiple sclerosis, and I was aware that there's some famous people have had multiple sclerosis. The one that sprang to mind immediately was Christina Applegate, who is one of the most beautiful actresses, and some of her posts and experiences with MS has actually helped me, because I didn't know what the heck I was getting myself in for. And seeing somebody who's going through the same thing, when they explain things like when she had her star on the Hollywood Hall of Fame, and she was wearing flip-flops because she couldn't bear wearing shoes because it felt the grip on her feet. Now, I experienced that. Hearing somebody else has the same thing was massive. It made a huge difference because it wasn't just me. There are other people going through it, and therefore the solutions may be. Now, I'll explain to you what was explained to me so that you know what MS is. Multiple sclerosis basically comes in many forms. Mine is progressive MS. And what happens is that the nerves in your body are like wires, with the plastic coating of a wire replaced by a sort of a fatty surround that does the same job, insulates the nerve. And what happens with multiple sclerosis is that for some reason, multiple sclerosis, or whatever it does to your body, attacks that protection for your nerves, and eventually the nerve dies. And that means that the brain can no longer use its wiring system to control your body. In my case, my multiple sclerosis happened initially inside my head. It was like a lot of sparks went off, a bit of my brain apparently has died. Nobody will notice. But what happened was that my brain was, and this is a beautiful description that was given to me, my brain was trying to send motorway traffic down a B road. So all the big nerves that did the big jobs, and for example, moving a limb is a big job because it takes electricity, it takes brain power to generate that electricity and focus that electricity and send it down. Now, what's happening is that the further away you are from the brain, that's the first thing that's going to suffer. So in my case, it's the right leg, which I find that I've now almost got a permanent limp. When I first started with the MS, I could walk to, say, the local village, which was a 10-minute walk either direction. Now I can barely walk to the road. And that gives you an idea of the progression since 2018 to 2025. All of this time I've been trying to carry on making my motoring programs because all of a sudden things have changed. I don't have the job anymore. I had to leave that because I couldn't walk and do the job that I was doing. I also have found that during the night I get pains shooting through my legs. It's like someone putting electrodes to my feet and it shoots up and down my leg. So some nights I have no sleep. And the longer I try to walk or do something, the more time I have to sleep or rest to recover from it, because the brain is the bit that gets tired. It lies to me. It sends all the signals like my leg's tired or my leg's hurting. There's nothing wrong with my leg physically. It is the nerves from the leg to the brain that's being eaten away. But the brain lies to me and tells me that my leg is hurting, and that's what multiple sclerosis does. So I get tired very, very quickly doing the kind of things that would take me no time at all. So going back to the car videos, how has that affected what I do? Well, I can no longer walk along to film cars driving past me. I find it harder to walk around the cars with a tripod to get all the still shots. So now, instead of walking around the cars as much as I did, I use a drone to take shots from above and all sorts of different angles that I could never have done before. So by finding a solution to the problem with my being able to walk around without getting tired, I found a better way of taking photographs. And when I'm filming cars driving past, instead I mount a camera onto my car, have the other car follow me or film from inside that car, and I get much better shots. It was like the old days when I was making TV programs and I used to have to sit in the back of a car pointing a camera out. Well, now I can mount a camera onto my car, do the same job. So I'm using gadgets to get round the problem until Enwins Motors earns enough that I can bring someone in and train them up to film the cars, and we can carry on making content. So please, please, please go over to Enwins Motors, click on subscribe and all. You'll be able to see all the videos that I make, and you can see the evolution of the channel. But more importantly, you will help me achieve an income that will allow me to bring someone else in, train them up, create a job, and allow them to keep the channel moving forward. Until then, I'm struggling on as best I can. So the point of this channel is, how have I got round my multiple sclerosis, my disability? How do I get about? What do I do when I can't afford something? I can't afford a mobility scooter, so how do I get round that? I have to drive everywhere, but how am I going to get round that in future? Maybe I could build a mobility scooter. Maybe I can find a cheaper way of getting one, and maybe there's some way I can get help with that. And this channel is going to look into all these things. But more importantly, if you're disabled or you know someone with a disability, share in the comments, share with the channel, share with everybody else your experiences, because that will help us to help you and to spread the word, so that we can all work together to make life better for us and develop solutions to the disabilities we live with. More importantly, it allows me to try new things, like, for example, this green screen behind. Hopefully it's working, and that allows me to create all sorts of images going on. If they're not, I look pretty silly right now. But these are the sort of things that I'm looking for. And more to the point, it's about being positive. When I say, yes, you can have a holiday. Yes, you can go places. Yes, you can do things. And even if you don't have a disability, we'll have positivity on here that goes to show that even when you're feeling down, yes, you can achieve your goals. Now, I have achieved some fantastic jobs working in television, working in the car industry, and I will share how I did that. So you don't need a disability to benefit from this channel. But the whole point is, and I really do hope that green screen is working, otherwise I look really stupid. But by sharing on this channel, we can all help each other. And that is the whole point of this channel. So yes, you can. Yes, I can. Yes, you can work around all our problems. And that's the whole point. So it's an entirely positive idea. And I welcome contact, get into the community, share, so that people can see ways of getting around things. And if you found things that help you with multiple sclerosis, or help you with being in a wheelchair, or with anything else, share it. Because any little life hacks, any little gadgets, any little ideas, that's what we want. So welcome to the channel. Stick around, because the material is going to be varied. For example, I will have features on electric cars, because it occurred to me that in the future, electric cars, never mind whether you like electric cars or you don't like electric cars, from my point of view, electric cars make a lot of sense, because if I'm going to end up in a wheelchair, and I'm being realistic, this is not curable, so eventually I'll be in a wheelchair, I will have to have an electric car. Why? Because if you have a situation where you've got to get the wheelchair out and put the wheelchair up in order to go somewhere, when you get somewhere, having to stop at a petrol station, get that wheelchair out, climb out of the car, wheel round, fill up the car with fuel, then go and pay, then get back to the car and put the wheelchair back in, that is one extra thing that you don't need to do if you have an electric car. You plug it in when you get home, and then you unplug it when you're about to set off, and you go wherever you're going, and it's all about setting off, getting to your destination, doing whatever you're doing at the destination, coming back. One less thing to worry about. Hence electric cars. No other reason. Not hatred of petrol cars. If you look at Enwins Motors, I definitely love petrol cars, but that is the way that electric cars may offer me a solution in the future, and it's got nothing to do with all the spin on either direction. In fact, I might just blow that out of the water by saying what's good and bad about electric and petrol cars. Anyway, the thing is that this channel, you will see all sorts of different kinds of things that all kind of relate to making things a bit better, how to make things a bit better, and that is the whole point of this channel. So if it helps you, fantastic. If you can contribute, better. And if you have a story you want to share and you're within travelling distance, I would love to come and film you and your ways of living with your disability, of positivity and of things that you're doing and how you're able to get out and enjoy the world. I want to be there and share your joyous experiences, because disability isn't just about the bad stuff, it's about the little victories, getting around it and moving forward. And that's what we're all trying to do. My name's Neil Winnington. Thank you for watching. And this is, as I said, a new channel. So why not click on like, click on subscribe, press on the all and join in. This isn't just about me spouting forth to you. This is about all of us sharing. So I look forward to hearing from you. Until the next time, take care.